level. Next level.
Well, the sky is blue and the sun is shining, and what better thing to do on a day like this than to drive a 5-hour round trip to Telford to see the Phantoms taking on the league leaders away from home in a cup final, a team they've not beaten this season, and we're going to give them a 2-goal head start in their own rink. Madness, eh? There's probably 2 reasons why I'm going to go over today. One is I realised the other day, in four decades of following Phantoms and Pirates, they've never won silverware when I haven't been there. Every major trophy we've won, I've been in the rink when I've picked it up. So I kind of thought, there's no way I can sit at home and find out that they pull this one out and win it, and I wasn't there. So that's one reason. The second reason is the 2008 thing, and if you were there in 2008, you'll know where I'm going with this. 2008, we were in the equivalent, the EPL Cup final. We played against Milton Keynes, who, like Telford, were the top team that season, and we had the home leg first. It's the only other cup final, the only ever cup final, where we've played 2 legs and played the first one at home. And Milton Keynes came and they beat us with ease on our home rink. They won by 2 goals, exactly the same as Telford beat us last Friday. And all I could think of when I got home last Friday was, we've been here before. We've lost the first leg by 2 goals, and to cut a long story short, we then went to Milton Keynes for the second leg, not expecting too much, but we beat them. And we beat them by, I think it was 4 goals, and we lifted the cup, we lifted the trophy in Milton Keynes rink in front of their own fans. So it can be done, and that's the other reason I've got to be here today. There is still some 12-year-old belief that we can do this again. So yeah, making the trip, getting over early. Don't want to mess around with the traffic in the rush hour, so I'm going to get over there early and we'll see what Telford's all about before the game, really. So yeah, catch up with you in a bit. This is the joy of travelling to Telford, as you've got to do this darned M6 car park job, and we've hit a car park near Coventry and we're not moving, so yeah, this is why I'm coming early. Bit of a mare. Well, we got out of the traffic jam. We're now crawling through the worst part of the journey, which is the sort of Spaghetti Junction section of the M6 around Birmingham. It's moving, that's about all you can say, really. On course to be in Telford just after midday. The plans to sort of enjoy the finer points of Telford in the afternoon, which is a bit of a dubious plan, I must admit. I did search Google last night, went to the what to do in Telford website page, and item number 1 was visit Iron Bridge, which, you know, I'm sure Iron Bridge is a fantastic place. I just thought to myself, if your number 1 attraction for visitors is to go somewhere else, it probably doesn't say a whole lot about Telford. But yeah, you never know, might be something of interest there to kill some time if I get there. So yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Well, I got to Telford. Driving along the road, the M54 to Telford, I could see this, well, I suppose they call it a hill round here, but if you're from Peterborough, like I am, Peterborough, it's a mountain, a massive mountain. That looks pretty huge. So they got a mountain in Telford. Don't know what it is, Mount Telford or something like that. Yeah, well, I got time on my hands, so I'm going to go and have a drive and see how close I can get to that thing. Don't see many of those. Yeah, weird. They got a mountain. Well, I found a mountain. It's called the Wrekin, but it's a mountain. I'm going to climb the bloody thing. I don't know how far I'm going. Might die halfway up, but yeah, they say phantoms have got a mountain to climb to win tonight, so I've got to set the tone here. I've got to climb a mountain. Just hope I get up there and the weather's okay. Oh, jeez, hard work, but we're getting there. The Wrekin, or the Wrekin, in my case probably the Wrekin. That's pretty nice, it's pretty nice. What goes up must come down, that should be easier. Blowing now, getting near the top though. People who know me think I'm a bit weird, which I am. People who know me well know I'm a little bit OCD stroke superstitious, especially on big game days, whether it's football, phantoms, whatever. I tend to think there's things I have to do, otherwise the result will go wrong. Just a bit weird. When I saw this hill stroke mountain and I thought phantoms with a mountain to climb, it just got in my head, I've got to climb this mountain. And it is a mountain. I'm from Peterborough. If I go upstairs it's altitude sickness, this is a mountain. So yeah, if I don't climb this thing we lose tonight, and I can't be doing with that, so I've got to climb it. So that's why I'm being stupid here. It's called OCD. So it's a Bronze Age hill fort. Yeah. So it's not just a mountain. It's not just a Bronze Age hill fort. I just read something further back. It says it's a volcano. They got a volcano. I mean, why haven't we got a volcano? I mean, that is weird. It looks like a volcano. I hope it's a dormant one. So yeah, mountain, hill fort, volcano. Can't argue with that. it. Job done. Climbed the mountain. Phantoms will win tonight for sure. Definitely. 100%. And it's all down to me. Jesus, there's a dude on a bike. You cannot cycle up a freaking mountain or a volcano. Jesus, good luck, pal. Is it worth it? You might as well get off and walk, you go twice as quick. Pop down the road into Iron Bridge as recommended on the Telford website. Nice bridge, nice fish and chips, and it's not flooded. Very nice. Okay then, that's as far as it got. It kind of finished at that point. I'll explain why in a moment. just wanted to try and explain a few things. There's been a lot of stuff said on social media recently, and I recognise sometimes I personally wade down routes that people don't get, and if they don't get it, then they kind of put two and two together and come up with about 50 odd something and think this guy is up to something really quite evil. You'll see I'm a bit of a weirdo from what you've already watched on here, but it's all good-natured fun, sense of humour. I love my hockey. It's 38 years I've been watching my local club. It's a big part of my life, and I don't want to change that. So I just wanted to explain what on earth was going on with this, and the way it ended last night at Telford. Social media is something that always has fascinated me. I'm a sort of big boys toys guy, and I love the sort of things and the sort of elements that you can push boundaries back on with social media and digital media. I work in digital media. I'm a photographer, so I have a particular interest there with photo and video. But back in the late 1990s, I set up what was the first sort of website in the Peterborough area for ice hockey, which was Twisted Sock, for a bunch of mates. But it very quickly became a much bigger thing because we had a financial crisis. Fans came in from all over, and they wanted to talk about and wish the club well. And so I launched a discussion board, which they had up at Fife. It was the only one in the whole country, I think, that existed at that time. So I copied the Fife Flyers discussion board, set up the Twisted Sock discussion forum, and it took off. And it rolled into Phantoms Online after 2002 when the Pirates disappeared. And it was kind of, that predated Facebook, so it was social media before social media was social media, if you know what I mean. And the term social media wasn't used then. So I've always sort of been involved in it, and I've always appreciated the benefits of social media in enthusing people and keeping people interested in hockey all year round. There's no sort of closing down for the summer. It stays alive 24/7. And people who are enthusiastic about hockey like to talk hockey when they want to talk hockey, and social media enables people to do that. Now, I also try and keep tabs very much on what's going on in the social media world. I'm genuinely interested in that, partly for my own business, but it's just something that I'm always interested in. I run my own YouTube channel for one of my hobbies, which I'm definitely not going to tell you about. It's nothing too sinister, but it doesn't really go with ice hockey. It's not manly enough. And more importantly, I also watch what others are doing with YouTube. And I read with great interest recently that they reckon about 50% of viewings of media nowadays is done on YouTube, not on TV, and it's shifting more now towards YouTube channels than TV channels. And there's no doubt whatsoever video is big now in social media, and it's going to get bigger over the next 10 years. The notion that you can go out and film to a reasonable standard with your mobile phone means that you don't need the technology. You need the skills, but you don't need the technology. Anyone can do it. Just got to learn how to edit videos, get them up on YouTube, and there's some really, really great stuff. I subscribe to quite a lot of channels around my hobbies, and they're great fun to watch, more fun than TV. But I'm particularly interested always in football, because it's the big sport in this country, and ice hockey isn't. But we can learn a lot from what's going on up there. Now, for my sins, I'm an Aston Villa fan, lifelong. It's probably evidence that God has a sense of humour that I'm a Phantoms fan and a Villa fan at the moment, because if one don't get me down, the other one does. And on some days, they both get me down in quick succession. But I'm a Villa fan, and I'm a member of, I subscribe to a number of Villa vloggers, and they're just people who go to games with mobile phones. They film the atmosphere, they film outside, they film inside, they shoot themselves, they shoot fellow fans. But the mainstay of what they do is they shoot the singing and the celebrations and some of the banter between the fans. And the viewing figures for these episodes, when they go online on a Saturday night, by the time you get to Monday morning, they're anything between 2,000 and 10,000 people have viewed them. The fans love them. It's what the fans want, because it's a taster of what it's really like. It's not sanitised official media that has to cut out little bits here. No, someone swore there, so we better cut that out. it's real, and people love that, and they can, particularly if it's a good game, they can watch it for years and years down the line and think, what a buzz that is, I can't wait to go to the next game, because it just gets, the emotions going. As a Villa fan, I've although things are tough at the moment, I've been to Wembley 4 times in the last 5 years, and any football fan knows, a trip to Wembley is the pinnacle. It's a cup final, it's a trophy up for grabs, but it's just a great vibe and great atmosphere, and everyone down there has got a camera, everyone down there has got a mobile phone, they're shooting outside, inside, shooting fans, celebrations, heaven knows what, but they're all doing it. If you stand up, if the fans start singing inside Wembley, when I was there for the playoff final at the end of last year, there must have been 1,000 people holding their mobile phones, filming the singing. They love it. They just want to capture that, put it in a bottle, and when they want cheering up at some time, later in the week or a year or whatever, they can just play it back, and they're back at Wembley again. So it's a very sort of positive thing, and I've always wanted my club Phantoms to sort of be pretty much up front at the helm, pushing back boundaries, and we've got an absolutely cracking social media team now. We have a cracking digital media team now. We have great streaming videos, really, really top draw. And I was the guy who actually launched Fan TV, and I don't get involved in it now. These guys have took it on to levels I could only have dreamt of, and they do it brilliantly. But I saw that coming, and I kicked it off. I created our Facebook group, which is now buzzing. The Go Phantoms Twitter was something I set up, and this isn't about me being some sort of clever so-and-so. It's just that I could see it on social media. I could see where things were going. Live updates from away games just didn't used to happen, but we did it on Phantoms Online very, very early on in the 2000s, before anyone else, because I could see in football that's what they were doing, and it became extremely popular. Now it's the norm. So with that in mind, I was very keen yesterday to try and do something different about the cup final and going to Telford. Truth be known, I didn't really think it would end well, and it didn't, but I didn't want to drive all the way there and back just to suffer for half a game, because I knew I wouldn't stay to the end if it really went pear-shaped. I just couldn't handle watching another team celebrating the trophy success, and I wish Telford all the best. They're deserved winners, deserved champions, and nothing against them at all. It's just my passions would find that very difficult to deal with. So I wanted to do something more, so I thought I'm going to do one of these attempt to do one of these vlogging type episodes. You've watched this, so you've seen what I did. It's completely mad, stupid, bit of fun. It kind of went off the rails a bit really when I got to the rink. The weather was so bad that the fans weren't where I thought they'd be, so I didn't get anything like I hoped for. But in the rink, it was a case of getting fans dancing, celebrating, banging drums, cheering their goals. Just a few snippets of that I could use to wrap the video up. It would have been great if Phantoms had won. I could have got all the stuff at the end, and that would have been brilliant, and that was the dream, and it could have happened, but it didn't. So I just wanted to get some stuff for the fans celebrating. I'd virtually finished, to be honest with you, but it ended on the Tigers' 4th goal, when I just grabbed a snippet of the Telford fans singing, and it's over there now. That's the footage that I took when it all ended. And you'll see at the end it gets rather sort of jolted. That was the point at which I was attacked from behind. That sounds dramatic, but it was an attack. I was physically assaulted from behind without warning by a guy who I'm told is a steward. I presume he was a steward. I have no disrespect to the guy. They've probably got tough jobs to do, but I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't being violent. I was doing what you've just seen in that video clip, and he launched at me. Now, there'd been some consultation prior to that. He and another steward had spoken to me earlier on, because they thought I was filming the game. I showed them what I was doing, and I explained it was a video diary, and the only thing I was shooting was the fans. I think one of them said that she was okay with it, but she'd have to check with someone, so she could have come back, but she didn't, and he didn't either. So I just assumed everything was fine, and why shouldn't it be fine? It was absolutely nothing for anyone to get upset about. The only clips I had and took were of the fans, which is what I planned to do, but for reasons I really don't know, just got attacked from behind by a guy. He absolutely smashed me about in terms of my arm was wrecked. I had to drive home one-handed because I couldn't feel anything in the fingers of the right hand. But yeah, I don't want to get into the details of what happened. It was ugly. It shouldn't have happened, and no steward anywhere should ever do that to a fan unless that fan is doing something hideous and violent that needs physical interruption, in which case good luck. I was just filming the Tigers fans, so I took that up with Telford. They can deal with it or not, I don't care. What bothers me more is what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? If that represents hockey, what are we doing? Because, you know, things like this are positive things. They're things that will make fans who perhaps haven't been to hockey look at it and think, yeah, you know, that's great, I love that, there's a bit of a vibe there, a bit of atmosphere, you know what, I'm going to go along to a hockey game, it's different, and you know, it can't do any harm. You know, there was nothing, I can't think of one thing that anyone could have said, well, what you're doing is obviously going to do some damage to the hockey club or to the sport. You know, I've asked before at other rinks and you never get an answer. And it's not just Telford. I've had similar at other rinks. I've even had problems in my own rink in Peterborough. And again, no one ever explains what the problem is. It's a kind of authoritarian, you know, we don't allow you to do anything. You can't film. It's kind of dated. I think it probably was where football was at 10, 15, 20 years ago. But it's very dated. It's very short-sighted. And it's damaging. You know, we're a small sport, we're a minority sport, but I think we've got a lot to offer. You, me, we as hockey fans know what it's like, what the vibe is like at a big game. It is great fun. We need to get it out there to others so more come to the game. And you know, there was nothing negative was ever going to come out of this video you've just watched. It was only ever going to be positive, and I just don't get why it has to end like that, why people have to get so violent, why they even have to stop it and throw you out of the rink for filming fans enjoying themselves. I don't get that, and I never will. And I think one day maybe hockey will understand and realise that they need to get real and get up to date and trust that, you know, these things are not necessarily as threatening as they think. So that's kind of my long-winded explanation as to what happened yesterday, but you know, why this video has to unfortunately end on a less fun note than I would have liked. So that's it. Nothing will change, but I thought I'd share that one with you. So thanks for listening to my rant.